stuff like that to.
You should just hire a cheap VA.
Exactly.
Actually, dude, I have a girl that I'm meeting with that's really good that I know in Bali from yoga, and you should use her too. She's all about wellness.
If she's from Bali, then maybe.
Yeah.
Because I don't like hiring the U.S.
Yeah.
Because people are too entitled.
She's awesome. She was in my yoga class, and I'm going to hire her to do my stuff.
She does video editing?
Yeah.
Okay, I love that.
Mm-hmm. And it's all for like yoga, wellness.
It's not that expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
All
well, right. I haven't talked to her yet, but I'm sure it's not.
Yeah.
It's Bali.
Yeah. Be billionaires with that.
Exactly. There's your dream. I'm making it happen for you.
This is true. All right. I need to take some water. Make sure the cameras are running.
How long are we trying to keep this to?
I think it's probably good to be 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
How are you feeling about that?
I think that's good. Should we run a stopwatch or something to make sure we're not like going crazy? Because I can talk about all this stuff forever.
Do you have your other phone? I mean,
phone. You
have the phone. It's the other one in the room. It's a good call. So right before we get started, I don't want to startle you, but I'm gonna clap my hands, because that way when I'm doing the editing, it'll spike on the clap, and then I know that's where the start is.
Okay.
If there's ever time that I have to reverse it and then edit it because we go off the rails, usually it's because we're probably getting our heads. That's okay to do, but we'll do another one of those claps so we know on that editing to come back to that.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
How far back do you want me to go about? I know what to do.
You just flow. Yeah. Okay. So we're looking at 45 minutes, and we'll probably go a little bit over.
Okay.
Okay. We might cover everything. We might not. We're just going to go with it. Okay.
Cool.
All right. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Global Center for Healing podcast. This is where we talk all things energy, and today we are in the Spring Valley location, and I'm so excited because it's around the holidays, and we are in a Harry Potter themed Airbnb, which belongs to our friends, the Volcanoes. And so we are here. I'm looking across to the beautiful tree. The wand starts all the lights in here. I mean, everything is decked out in Harry Potter, and we'd love to bring you live through this studio here in the Spring Valley, California location. Today, we have a guest on that will quite possibly change your life forever. Her story is one of those that's so transformative and so follow ready. In other words, she's going to give you the exact formula of what she did to transform. She is Ms. Hawaii 2025, Nicole Miranda. And when she comes on, a couple of the takeaways that you're going to want to listen for is how did she become that? And what can you do to specifically follow in her footsteps? She's going to give you an opportunity to work with her directly. And if you're somebody that has a company or know people that do own companies that are high vibrational and in alignment with what she's doing, please take note, because she will be able to align her purpose with that as well. So before we bring on Nicole Miranda, please make sure that you copy down this Global Center for Healing /Nicole for all the offers. And with that, let's get started. Okay.
Thanks so much, Josh.
All right. So with Nicole today, we're going to tell the origin story. And the origin story is going to not be from her being a baby. We're going to take her from where she was brought into the pageant field. If that was something that she had planned on since she was a little honey boo boo age, right? No. And we're going to bring it all the way from, and you'll be surprised at how long it's been that she's been in this field. But we're going to bring it from some of the clues that she was landing before that. So with that, I'm going to turn it over. And the first question we have for you is tell us a little bit about yourself, but take us back to the person before you even knew that was part of your path you're going to walk to the Miss Hawaii 2025.
Okay. So I moved to Hawaii only 3 years ago, first of all. A lot of people are surprised. Yes, you can be a Ms. Hawaii if you're not from there. You only have to live in the state. But this was never part of my journey. This was never part of my plan to be a pageant girl. I actually became a lot less someone that was seeking external validation for the last year or two, as I've started to kind of unravel my old identity, which used to be a very type A, competitive sales director in male-dominated industries, athlete, all those kind of things. I got to Hawaii and made a lot of changes. I stopped drinking the day I moved there. I started on this holistic health journey. And last year, I got my 200-hour yoga teacher certification, which is what really started this journey of surrendering It was my intro to spirituality, if you will. I was not, I was agnostic, atheist before that. I didn't believe in any more than myself. And therefore, I was controlling, pushing, rushing, forcing my entire life and carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders.
And so you're saying last year, meaning 2024 is
Yeah,
when you became
beginning of 2024.
Wow.
So I quit my corporate job in 2023 and I went on this deep soul searching journey that was desperately needed for a really long time and probably never would have happened had I not moved to an island in the middle of the Pacific
Wow.
where I could reset and heal and make my own decisions that were not influenced by, all the people that were surrounding me on the East Coast where I lived before that. I was living in Tampa, Florida.
Okay. And so when you come into Hawaii, this has been a dream for you. You come into Hawaii, you quit drinking, and you go on a spiritual journey. And this is maybe for another time, we'll have you on again to talk about Bali.
There's a lot to say about Bali.
And what I want to do is your spiritual journey also brought you to the world of mystical science and science proving spiritual experiences through Joe Dispenza. So take us through how this became a manifesting.
Yeah. So yoga taught me how to meditate. I could not meditate for more than 5 minutes at the beginning of last year. I literally couldn't sit still. I've never sat with myself or my feelings or emotions. That's not what we do growing up in New York.
And that's not relatable at all, right? Our listeners are probably all like, oh. Okay.
So that's where I learned to meditate. We had to meditate. It was a 3-week program and we were on a yoga mat for 12 hours a day. The last thing we would do was meditate for an hour. And it's funny, fast forward to where we are at right now, where I met you at the Joe Dispenza retreat. We're now doing meditations that span over 5 hours at a time. And it's cake now. It's a piece of cake. But it just goes to show, and I've shared this story with quite a few people who have been inspired to meditate through some of my events I've held. And they're like, wow, 5 minutes to 5 hours. It can happen fast. Trust me, I never thought I'd be someone that could sit still for 5 hours at a time.
Only monks, right?
Call me Monk Miranda now, I guess.
Monk Miranda, I got that might stick. No, probably not.
So I, started getting into meditation, yoga, spirituality, and quantum manifestation, if you will. I don't really think I knew what any of this meant, but this was the way I was slowly gravitating with my life, where I was doing affirmations, I was journaling. I really started a big gratitude practice, which I'll talk about later as well. And that eventually led me to this year when I went back and I assistant taught at my yoga teacher program in January. And I was having all these magical moments where basically what I thought was I'd take 2 steps and it would be sitting in front of my eyes. It was wild. I haven't even told you this whole story yet. I was doodling in my journal while I was in Bali teaching this class sometimes. And my doodles were on the wall of this hotel I went to after the training. I mean, it was, I'm still not sure if I was dreaming or not, if I'm being honest with you. So I wrote down after one of my meditations in January, I should take a Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation retreat. And that was on my radar a little bit from watching Gaia, seeing him in Rewired. I still didn't know much about his practices at the time. I come back from Bali, traveled a little bit more. In March, I arrived back in Hawaii. I'm feeling peace, joy, fulfillment, all the things. I start my tour business and a lot of other things I'm doing this year, continue working on my book. And I attended another beauty pageant with a friend where I intuitively knew that everybody was going to tell me that I should be on that stage. And it's not about like, oh, look at me, I'm so great, right? I had this I was in my aura. I was glowing for the first time in my life. I felt full self-love. I mean, like a way that I was always confident, but this was different. I didn't need anyone else or anything else to fill any sort of void in me. I had done the work to clear out the noise and just become my own person who loves and embodies my authenticity every single day.
Wow. And as she said, she'd walk 2 steps and things would happen. How many people actually told you, and some of the people that told you that you should be in the pageant?
Yeah, so I was in this beautiful neon green gown, and as soon as I walked down to the lobby of my apartment, the concierge was like, "Where are you going? Are you in this pageant? Uber driver, are you going to be in the show?" Walk into the pageant. You should be up on stage, right? And I felt it. I was just I was glowing that day and I knew it. I had just come back from this very spiritual, retreat and experience with my gurus and getting to teach and share the magic of what I learned the year prior and serve as an example. And a big part of this journey too for me has been stepping into my divine feminine, which is something I previously pushed away and rejected about myself. Yes, I was a girl that wore dresses and flirted with dudes, but I wanted to keep up with the men that I was selling to. I wanted to be taking shots and be the cool girl that can keep up with the boys, and I was the athlete that could win everything. So I learned through yoga to surrender to the universe, um, to have a balance in life between the divine feminine and masculine. And once I stopped rejecting that side of myself, I am a female, of course, like, but it's painted in such a, I don't know, in some ways that we're in this patriarchal society where it's seen as a weakness to have emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And that was not something I ever allowed until I got to Bali. I learned to have compassion on myself. And that's what this journey of Ms. Hawaii was really about. So I was sitting there watching the show, and one of my friends says, Mrs. Hawaii, who won last year, her friend, wants her to run for the pageant. And she's like, I'm not going to do that. She goes, wait a minute, you should do it, Nicole. And I was like, okay.
the number, like everything was stacking up in that direction. And so I just, for just a moment, backing up, when we give an opportunity, guys, to work with Nicole, just understand that she has ways. I know that it's out there right now. A lot of people are trying to balance the masculine and feminine. This is somebody that came from the corporate world. She came into a 2-year, kind of a 2-year evolution where she's really found a lot of harmony with that. Yes, she can put the energy out, but she now knows how to receive the energy. She knows how to step into that divine feminine. And it's something that's a topic that's somewhat of a mystery. If you don't know how to apply it for your life, this is somebody that can help you along with that. And so I didn't want to miss over the idea here that probably none of this would have been possible if you didn't step into that divine feminine.
Oh, absolutely.
And receive, like, running through the world, just bull-nosed all the way through. That's the masculine energy. You might have missed a lot of the signs and the signposts along the way. And so that's so beautiful. Now, there's some Joe involvement in this. And you talked about manifesting from the quantum field. And so here is the nonchalant, sure, I'll do it. Tell us a little bit more about that. When did you know that this was inevitable, that you would then become, not just enter, but become Miss Hawaii, crowned?
So that day, as when I got nominated, my friend texted Mrs. Hawaii and said, this girl in the green, she's doing it. Next day, I got a call from Mrs. Hawaii, tells me about the pageant. I'm like, okay, sure. I still wasn't jumping out of my skin. It's not that I got rid of all my heels. Let me add this. I got rid of all my heels last year. I got rid of all my nice clothes. The irony of when this came to me is also just a very funny aspect of the story. And then I was doing a breathwork session 2 days later, and I had a vision of me winning Miss Hawaii. And when I got out of that breathwork session, I had a call from the pageant director saying, we want you. We saw a picture of you. We heard about you. We want you in this pageant. And I was like, all right, it comes at me 3 times. I guess this is a yes, right?
Wow.
Great way to boost my, my tour business, my book, all the things I'm doing, and share the journey that I've been on with others. And that was what my platform really stood for, is, finding balance in your life, listening to your own intuition, healing, and then that opens up all these doors. So that's actually what my whole platform ends up being for the pageant: yoga, holistic health, including Eastern world practices. So I started training, and I'll admit it wasn't everything I expected it to be, and there were ups and downs in the journey. I thought I would just get up there and look pretty, and there's a lot to learn about standing in 6-inch stilettos and sashaying your hips and what kind of dresses to wear. But I already had the confidence aspect going for me. I've already taught other people how to walk into a room proudly, and confident, as that's what I did for a living. I was a sales director, right? So I wasn't worried about all that. It was the walking in heels and getting all glammed up, wearing more makeup than I ever had. But it was a fun journey to really fully embody that divine feminine. It wasn't just something I said. I'm like, I'm going to look the part too, and I'm just going to be it and do it.
Okay, and we don't want to go too fast from this point, because there's a couple things that you had brought into it. Number one, when you have a meditation, you have a vision in your mind, and then you follow it with action. And the serendipities. I want people to understand that when you're doing the meditative work, you're receiving from higher source, and that higher source had put you on the path. The director was there on the other line. And so I didn't want to miss that. I want to emphasize that. But the other thing is acting as if. a lot of people say fake it till you make it. I believe act until it's real, like
Mm.
practice till it's real. And so what you're talking about is you took yourself to the personality, you took yourself to as much of the reality as you knew, and you're willing not to be the best at it at first, but humble enough to get instruction.
I certainly was humble enough. I needed all the help I could get. So right after I got signed up for the pageant, let me mention that's when I signed up for my first Dr. Joe Dispenza retreat, which was in July in Denver, 2 weeks after the show. So I knew it would be the perfect opportunity for me to go back inward, come back to my center after being, so in front of so many other people. So I was starting his progressive retreat online, which is a prereq for the week-long advance. And that's where I started to learn the true practices of quantum physics, how you put things, into the void, you become one with creation, and then you use those elevated emotions to bring that to life. So he has us practicing those meditations going into this retreat. And that's what I started doing as it was getting closer to the pageant. He has one particular meditation that I used a lot that's called tuning into new potentials.
Love that one.
Yeah. And that was the one where in the beginning you go into that void where you become nobody, no one, no thing, as he says. You become one with pure consciousness, and then you put your intention, send the signal out with your coherent brain what you want to manifest. So for me, that was this Ms. Hawaii United USA title at the time. And then you draw it in with your heart coherence. So you're using your brain and your heart. Brain sends out the signal, the heart dials it in, right? It calls it in with those elevated emotions. So while I was laying on my bed meditating, I remember that week prior, I had at least 2 meditations where I cried a lot. It was as if I was already standing on stage and I kind of embodied and walked through how it was going to go. I pictured myself not tripping on my heels as I was doing many times in practice, not tripping on my dress, walking tall, confident, shoulders back, head held high, smiling at the audience, looking at the judges, feeling what the room was going to feel like. Because I've also, as you know, I'm a very social person, but I've never stood on a stage in front of hundreds of people with all eyes on me. So it was fun, but I didn't know if I was going to get, stage fright or nerves. I've never done that before. So the biggest thing was, and I know you asked, when did I really know this was going to happen? I knew, I would say, about 3 days before when I experienced it as if it was realer than when it happened on stage. I was in bed, I was visualizing me in my dress and saying, your new Ms. Hawaii United USA is Nicole Miranda. I felt all my friends that were there like yelling and screaming and cheering me on. I pictured myself not just standing up there, but who I'd become, all this work, like, personal growth development stuff I've been working on, who I was now as this divine feminine woman who, put aside this very sun masculine energy that I carried for a really long time and let the universe, put surprises. And Dr. Joe talks about that, the synchronicities. There was always a way they surprise you, and doing Miss Hawaii was one of those. So I was picturing myself, feeling the crown on my head, having the sash put on me, and me, oh my God, crying like the girls do when they drop to their knees. So I felt it, and it was me being proud of who I'd become, not just, oh, I get this crown, then I get to say I'm Miss Hawaii. I don't care about that. I already feel like a queen in my everyday life. I live in my dream apartment across from the water. I have the best friends in the world. Life is peace, joy, love, beauty, So that's what it was. And I wasn't nervous the day of the pageant. I was probably the only one at the show that everyone's freaking out. I wasn't nervous at all. The whole time I was just excited. I was stoked. And I got on stage and I was like, this is awesome. I love this. I could do this all the time.
So you are dropping nuggets, and a lot of things might be missed because it sounds like the fairy tale story, and yet there's a few things I just want to key in on because we're going to move into how this can work for other people too. The first thing is you weren't good. You weren't good.
If I show you the videos of me walking and my pageant coach telling me how to, we'll share those too.
So many people give up at that point. They're not willing to suck until they're great.
That's a good point.
And the other thing is that you never stopped visualizing. You never stopped. And there was a part in there that most people miss. You had the emotion that you had as if you won before that ever happened in the real 3D world.
Mhm.
And a lot of people don't understand that a lot of the visualization isn't there for you to start thinking about how to move matter on matter.
Mhm.
It's there for you to feel the emotion. That emotion will pull you into your higher self. That's the
Yep.
reception from the universe of what that feels like. That's a beacon that you set out, and you feel back the emotion that keeps you driving and it keeps you going forward. And so all this is stuff that you're learning from a master. There's other things that you've done in your life that allow you to do this.
Yeah.
And when we are now going to kind of transition a little bit, because the rest we can just say is history. You described what it was going to look like. It became that. They placed it on the crown on your head, and crowned Miss Hawaii 2025. As you had said, you had become a queen over the course of your lifetime.
Mhm.
You have so much love. You have so much self-love. You have so much appreciation and gratitude for what is in your life. This is now where we transition to those that have done it now can turn backwards to help others do it as well.
Yes, and that's what I'm here to do. Be the quantum queen and help other people manifest like royalty.
And you have something that's so unique as a method, as a tool, as a skill to do this. And it's almost like a mini retreat. It's a future self activation event.
Mm-hmm.
And this happens in your home state of Hawaii.
Yes.
Although I think you had mentioned you might be able to do them on Zoom, but it's not as impactful as we have that.
Mm-hmm.
Briefly share with us what that looks like for somebody so that they can experience what you experience.
Sure. So my future self activation events started actually as a full moon ritual ceremony that I adapted from my yoga program. And it combines both yoga and quantum physics and quantum manifestation, if you will. And we have a whole ceremony. Usually there's 30, 40 people, depends on the size of the facility that we get for that time. But the last one that I did was the biggest and the best. And I think I just took everything that I've learned and really stepped it up a notch. And usually, right before I host these events, I kind of get these intuitive hits and visions that are like, all right, this is what you're doing. And I just start writing it down and I plan the event 2 days before. So this one, we've got the candles lit. We have everybody coming in with their intentions. And we held it at a beautiful yoga studio.
Okay, before we go there, I want to make sure so people will understand this is different than most. So they don't just come in as their intentions. They come in dressed differently. They come in acting differently.
So this one,
I want to roll it back because this is so key. This is what's unique to Nicole's. I had never heard before.
This one was really cool. I got the idea to have everybody dress as their future self. So instead of wearing our usual yoga clothes or our white ritual, we're dressing as who we want to be. So I, for example, am doing my first TED Talk next year. So I was in a nice, like, white business cute suit. I am also manifesting my future husband. So I had an engagement ring on. Whatever it comes to you. One girl dressed as an artist because she wants her art to get sold. Another person dressed as a musician. Whatever you are putting out into the field that you're stepping into your next year, next week, whatever, right? That's how you come dressed up. So everybody was dressed that way. And it wasn't until we started getting into the practice, we do some guided meditation, we do a little bit of movement. But I think the part that stood out the most in this one was we networked as our future selves.
Oh, I love it. Okay, I just got bumps. Keep going.
So everybody broke, kind of like a regular networking event, but now we're standing up. We're in this, yoga shala where we've got sacred items and sage and all the things going, right? And this was also leading up to Ms. Hawaii, by the way. I had my picture of me. That's another aspect we'll talk about, visualizing. I don't just visualize in my head. I'll make a AI photo of what it's going to look like when I win the crown. And that was on my altar for every day and also for my full moon ceremony. So it's tapping into that whole power of the collective. So when we bring everybody together in this collective high energy, as you and I both know, that's how we met, without even barely speaking.
Right.
It just really amps up the law of attraction, how things are going to feel. And then that's how we brought up the elevated emotions. So everybody was going around saying, who they are. One of my friends was there and she's like, hey, I just bought the house down the road. It's a 4-bedroom, this is that. And then the other girl would say, oh my God, what street, what area, who you live with, how much was it? What are you going to decorate it like? When are you moving in? When do you close? And then she gets to answer those questions and embody it even more. And then, I swooped in and I'm like, yeah, Annie and I are going on a double date with our future husbands that are best friends. And she's like, oh, that's so funny. I just said that too. And you have all the questions, which are making you think not just this at
You're
that
feeling
stopping it
it.
at that
You're
step,
feeling
but
excitement of it.
and then the other person, the room was roaring. Like, I'm not kidding. I have to start holding these in the morning because everybody told me they couldn't sleep. I was getting texts till 2 in the morning that everybody was like on that Dr. Joe
vibrating, yes,
high frequency.
Oh, so this is so good. And then the other part about it is then you lock it in. You lock it in place with a specific meditation, and this is the field. This is the quantum field where everything is possible. There's infinite amount of possibilities, and people just really feel and embody into it.
Yep.
How do people get a hold of you to do this? Is this an ongoing thing, or is this a one-time thing?
Yeah, these are usually monthly. I'm also hosting retreats on Oahu next year that will be similar, incorporating, of course, for people that don't live here, getting to experience the magic of Oahu, because Hawaii is, what changed me so much. And being surrounded by water, it's healing, it's empowering. You feel a lot of peace. The water's as clear as your mind, and then you're able to, draw things in. Being immersed in nature is what really changed my life. I mean, nature's become my teacher in addition to yoga and all of this other stuff. It's hard not to have such gratitude when you see the beauty of these vast mountain landscapes and rainbows going over the top. And it's just the aloha vibe and the energy. We call it the mana in Hawaii. I think it's the energy of the land. It's very sacred. There's a lot of traditional practices. So my retreats will incorporate some Hawaiian culture, of course, hikes and getting out in nature, and then yoga, breath work, meditations, everything that we're talking about in these one-offs. I do, one-on-one coaching as well online. I'm also available for hire for, different wellness events. I do that where I teach yoga, and I don't consider yoga just to be the physical asana practice. I consider the meditations, the yogic diet, the way of living.
Yoga karma, yeah. So everything is involved.
Mantras, everything. Yeah, that's for me. It's so big to say that yoga is not just the physical posture.
Yoke to the divine. That's yoke to the divine. So absolutely. And with that, when you guys get through listening to the information, the way you can find us is go into globalcenterforhealing.com/Nicole, and that's NICOLE. So /Nicole. So just make sure you guys go in there. You'll be able to see the link for all of this. And if you put in there, the discount code that you'll see in the show notes, then you'll be able to get that, that you get a discount. So please make sure, if this is calling for you, that you get in there and make sure you find out all that Nicole offers. We are going to talk a little bit about the embodiment and the energy and the confidence. Okay. So how is holding your elevated energy important in this process? And did you ever have time when doubt crept in? So kind of talk about the contrasting energy.
Sure. I've had a lot of times when doubt has crept in, especially throughout the pageant process. There was a lot of ups and downs, as I mentioned, where I was kind of like, this is out of alignment with me in a lot of ways. Heels aren't good for your body. As a yogi, you want to be flat-footed and, balance between your feet and popping your hips out. I'm not going to say I condone all of this. I think I was able to handle the pressure because, one, I already know who I am and I'm confident in myself. And two, I can, reverse rewire. I can do other things to counteract that. I think I went up and down about whether or not I wanted to do it. And that towards the end, I was like, you know what, this will bring it's not even about my fame or notoriety, whatever you want to call it. I want to share this journey that I've been on. So it's that North Star of being able to help other people. I know, and we haven't even really talked to you and I personally talked about this much, but I was in a really, really deep, dark place a few hours ago. Not a few hours. I've been happy. A few years ago. I mean, I was burnt out. I was taking Adderall to wake me up, Ambien to put me to sleep. I drank all weekend. I was thriving on this, not even thriving. I was surviving on this tension in my body my whole life, always so hard on myself. So the biggest thing about doing this Miss Hawaii journey is sharing that this isn't a superficial thing. This is a connection of mind, body, and spirit. This is when you align that holy trilogy of all things, that you can do anything. So 1 minute I can be barefoot, muddy, rolling around like in a waterfall, and then the next day I can go stand on stage and be Miss Hawaii. And I want to show everybody that they can make those shifts like that. It's just about choosing your quantum leap, really.
That's so beautiful. And so, what would you say is the biggest mistake people make when they go towards manifesting?
I think holding on too tightly and trying to control the how and
Mm,
even the outcome. You should visualize the outcome, but not how it's going to happen, right? With anything, and not not a pageant just per se, but when you're clinging too tightly, that's how you kind of strangle something. When you let go and you trust that whatever is going to happen, this was another big thing that I don't think we've spoke about yet. I had a conversation with myself like the week of the pageant where I was like, my friends were like, "You're gonna be pissed if you don't win, aren't you?" And I was like, "I don't really think so." And I'm like, "Wait, will I?" And I really sat back, and I do a lot of journaling as well, where I process my thoughts and emotions and just kind of get to observe them from the outside, not just when I'm meditating, and a lot comes through for me. And I sat with it and I journaled about it, and I was like, "Will I be upset?" Let me really sit with that question. And I was like, of course, I put a lot of energy, like anything else we
yeah.
do when we're intentional, we're disciplined. Yeah, there's going to be a moment of disappointment. But then I was like, okay, the next day, what happens if my name's not called and I just go through and I spend all this time, money, and energy,
Yeah.
and then I'm just back to Nicole? I'm not just Nicole. I love myself, and like I said, I feel like a queen every day. I get to live my dream life.
I
So,
love that. And this is one of the things that a lot of people do wrong is they don't necessarily stop, slow down, and have that conversation with themselves.
mhm.
And one of the things that I'm just becoming very conscious about as well is some people will start writing their "I failed" speech for their loved ones and family before they're even
No.
even in the process when things get super difficult, they start coming up with the things they'll tell people for failing.
Hmm.
And that's something that
And
we
you're setting yourself up
really
for failure.
have to protect ourselves because sometimes it gets super hard. And so when the doubts come in, but the other thing that you said is exact opposite, like detaching from the outcome. We both have a mentor, and the formula that he talks about is follow your passion the highest level you can follow it without
Hmm.
any attachment to the outcome.
Yep.
And that's the formula for raising your frequency,
Yeah.
raising your elevated frequency. And most people think it's like sitting in yoga position or in a lotus position and raising it and levitating like the avatar, right? Like, no, it's following what the next most exciting thing is. And
Yep.
this was the next most exciting thing. And you kept with it with a loose
Yeah,
attack.
a loose grip, and that's what ultimately at the end of that conversation or thought process with myself, I knew that I would be totally fine the next day. I would go back to living my dream life the way I was before. And guess what? Now I don't have all these appearances that I need to go get dolled up for. I go back to hiking instead of walking in heels every. It was a win-win for me either way,
I love that.
And I used to be so attached to every outcome,
Well,
every
we're both
race,
athletes. We
every
understand that, right? Like, yeah,
and but that's what it was. It was that nonchalant attitude that I didn't even put that much pressure on myself the day of the show. It was just, hey, we're gonna do this. We're gonna have fun with it.
and
If
if
it happens, great. If it doesn't,
yeah. And I think there's
thinking
so
it,
many people listening to this that can gain from that. There's a moment in that performance,
yeah,
there's a moment in that time of embodiment when you let go, and it's the most peaceful at times that are high performance times, the most peaceful here and now in the moment experience. And that's what I'm hearing from you. Everybody else, you looked around, were nervous as all, but you had understood this principle. It's wisdom that you carry within you,
yeah,
and it's beyond what many people even in this experience in this life might even experience. And so that's a huge thing I didn't want to pass over. You'll lower your
yeah.
frequency, you'll lower your vibrational frequency.
I also will say I wasn't. People are like, "What do you mean? How'd you know you were gonna win?" Right? Like even my friends said, "Why?" When my name actually got called on stage, I just stood there because I already kind of knew. But it wasn't. I didn't think I was better than anybody else in the room. We're all, our own beautiful person. I wasn't worried about the other contestants. I wasn't thinking about. I was just out there being my truest, realest, most
Mm.
authentic self. And there's even probably silly things that I also won best interview. And one of the things that I talked about in the interview was the fact that I won a pizza 5K race where I'm stuffing my face with a slice of pizza and running a race. Like it's so atypical, but it's so true to me and who I am. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it and just pretend I'm this perfect little pageant princess. I shared my journey in the interview as well of my trials and tribulations. And I
Mm-hmm.
was not always, I can very much say I was never this way prior to the last 2 or 3 years when Hawaii opened some new doors for me. Yoga opened a lot, changed a lot. It's been a long, challenging journey, but now that I'm here, it's like breathing a
Hmm.
sigh of relief.
It just makes everything easier, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Everything just flows. So how do you personally recalibrate when the old identity stuff starts coming in? It came in. You
Yeah.
admitted it comes
Yeah,
in.
totally.
How do you recalibrate? How do you get back on track?
I think that's normal. I think I used to feel like being spiritual and being positive doesn't mean we're toxically positive. We never have bad emotions. That's, I think, a common misconception. So I allow myself to have upset days sometimes. Sometimes I just don't want to do anything and I just want to cry in bed. And maybe I am just moody because I'm on my period or something and whatever. And I don't push that away anymore. Like I just be with it and then know that that's part of the cycle. Everything in life is duality, right?
Mm.
And then I think too, consciously surrounding yourself with like-minded people. Like you and I are friends for a reason. Law of attraction draws great people that can help pick you up when you're down, that you have a shoulder to cry on. And then being around, other people that are doing the same work and the same feelings and the same attitude reminds me of they're just a mirror of me. So maybe I'm having a down day right now, but I'm going to go right back to, doing my own thing. So I really let myself, like, I cry all the time. I cry every day. Usually I will say it's happy tears because I'm so grateful for
Mm.
my life right now. But I wouldn't let myself cry in front of anybody before. I wouldn't let myself have emotions, and that's not normal to stuff it all in. You got to release.
And I love what you're saying because most people don't understand unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I hear you describing for yourself. And that's something that's missed. I think if you can't love yourself under all conditions, that's what I'm hearing as I listen to you.
Yeah.
Under all conditions, you're loving yourself. If I'm having a bad day, I still love myself. And I even give myself more love during those times. Whereas
Yeah.
we probably relate to those are the times when we'd shame ourselves to the no end. But that's the
Yeah.
time we know we need to stop, retreat back into ourselves, give
Mm-hmm.
ourselves the love and care that we need to come back out of ourselves, our best selves.
Yep.
So I love that. And I know that's going to help a lot of people either confirm the path they're on and starting to do that, or they're going to hopefully shift and start to do that so much.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to shift gears just a little bit because there's um, a conscious reception that you have, and you're drawing it to you so fast. I mean, I hung out with you a couple of times now, and you have a brand that you're, the pickleball brand that you're putting on. Like Slap Life has got you all decked out. There's other things that are coming in your life. There's different brands we can't talk about because of the non-disclosures right now. But in choosing to work with as collaborator in this way, as a model, but not only necessarily a model, I think a better way of saying it is a modern ambassador of their brand. Mm-hmm. What is an important feature that goes into your decision with that?
I only want to work with brands that I believe in, that are products that I use, that are practices that I use. I'm someone who, as you know, is, like I said, very authentic, and I value that, and I believe that is one of my roles in this universe. People always, you know me, I'm in my light up earrings and my rainbow outfits, and I look like the quirkiest one in the room sometimes. And I'm not doing it for attention. I'm doing it because this is what makes me happy, and I love the way I dress, right? So I'm never afraid to share and shine as my true self. And I believe that allows other people to do so too. So when it comes to brands, I want to work with wellness brands, travel companies, spirituality, things that are in alignment with who I really am, because I'm not here to fake it till I make it anymore. I'm here to walk the walk of who I really am, what I stand for, what I share. And I'm the biggest hype woman when it comes to selling things when it's something that I believe in. Like it's people always say this to me. It's like infectious when they hear my story about my spiritual coach that I worked with. Everybody books a reading with her because she changed my life so much. And I don't say it to sell her. I say it just to share what an influence it had on me. So if it's something that I believe in, those are the type of companies that I, am connecting with, and they're coming to me, like you said. It's great.
And I don't want to overwhelm you, but obviously in the show notes with that same link /Nicole, if you're a company that wants to have Nicole, represent your brand, and actually what you had said is usher in the people that are like-minded and of that same energy. Mm-hmm. It'll be in the notes for them to click on that link.
So. We'll connect them to my Instagram, my website, all that kind of stuff.
And you'll interview them because it's kind of funny to see how fast it's flown here. It's just crazy. I mean, it shouldn't be surprising, but it is. Really
it is kind of crazy how quick all these changes have happened.
It's so fun. It's so fun. So when you were doing the photo shoot, what was Slap Life? It's an upshoot. It's a total favor on you, and yet they are a company that is really much more like, let's make sure we're not going to go drop a ton of money on like this athlete that may smashed my paddle in the tournament, and then it looks bad because they didn't have control of their temper. They were thrilled to hear your energy, and you're representing that. So what goes in consciously when you're doing those kind of photo shoots? Because you're natural, by the way. Like this was so, I was able to witness it, and I could tell you that there's just so much of her energy that comes through those brands. But what do you put yourself on when you're consciously, or how do you embody that?
I think what you said, it's natural. For me, I'm doing the work every day, whether it's meditation, yoga, breath work. I'm just being myself. So when I go into a photo shoot, it's when I was much younger, I tried to get into modeling and I didn't have the confidence or the charisma
The
or
boxy,
yeah,
yeah.
I didn't have the self-love and I would be, sitting there and turn this and I'm rigid. Now I'm just flowing. So when I even most of the time when I do photo shoots, I had a photographer recently tell me it was one of the most fun photo shoots she ever did. I literally climbed in a tree in my gown, and she got up in the tree too. And we were like, "What are we doing? How many Miss Hawaii's do you know that do this?"
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's just I live my life from a childlike wonder every day. I'm twirling around, I'm having fun. It's my natural state to be in awe of the beauty of this universe now. I've finally tapped back into it, and that's how I go about, promoting things or photo shoots. I'm just having fun with it. It's just play.
Oh, I love that. I love that, and it's evidence. You guys can see some of the clips, obviously, as we're talking right now. What
They come
exactly
out
she's
good.
talking about. So yeah, I did. It was absolutely positive. Um, what what's coming through? You talked about, and just review again. What are the types of brands, like type of companies that you're most interested in
Yeah,
representing?
any, wellness apps, holistic health, diet supplements, meditations.
Oh, I could see with
Sure.
peptides just destroying it. But yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
have a
such a hot
friend
topic,
that's
right?
we're talking about doing some
Yeah,
peptide stuff, uh, journaling. I like fat. I mean, I like a little bit of everything. Anything that's me. Bright colors,
travel. You said like
travel, swimsuit brands. I'm
yeah.
talking to San Lorenzo and Maggi and a couple different brands that I really like. Anything that I'm wearing or matches the Aloha vibe, Hawaii energy. That's who I'm,
And
partnering with.
this is part of the photo shoot. Like the backdrop was a famous resort, obviously, because that's where it was held at, and it was just so obvious that you're making that resort more attractive just by
Hmm.
by the shoot itself. And so obviously there's some things in the works there, and we can't talk
Yeah.
about those right now, but those are the kind of things that pop. So what do you see in your future as far as the retreats? Tell us a little bit more about this lengthier retreat, and then if somebody feels the nudge, what would you do? What would you say to encourage them? So tell us about the retreats first, and then tell us
Yeah.
about the person that might feel the nudge.
Yeah. My first retreat right now next year is in September on Oahu. It's, close to my home, close to my heart, and I want to share that with other people. So it's going to be a blast. I have another one that I'm planning probably in Bali at the end of next year, and I'm open to partnering with other, businesses, retreat companies, wellness. Like I said, there's all different things happening all the time. I'm going to start stepping into doing more speaking engagements as well. I'm even open to working with corporations and having them come to Oahu and have team building events because I can both speak the corporate lingo. I did that
Mm-hmm.
my whole life,
Mm-hmm.
right? And now I'm more in this little bit of a spiritual woo woo spot, but I
Mm-hmm.
have the
It's grounded. It's
yeah,
grounded. Yeah.
it's a combination of both, someone who understands both sides of the coin. So that's all coming up. People that are interested, I've actually had quite a few friends who have reached out to me already about wanting to come out to Hawaii and seeing what I'm doing with, yoga or just people I follow me on my social media. So anyone that this has piqued their interest, if they are maybe seeking more, if they're feeling lost, like I can say I was feeling really lost and confused on my path for a very, very long time. I'm not even 100% sure of my path now, but I don't think we ever should be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's trusting and leaning into the uncertainty. And if you feel aligned, like I myself still go to plenty of retreats as well, even though I'm a host, I'm attending one next year with another luxury retreat owner who's done a bunch of TED Talks and has a best selling book, which I'm publishing my book next year. So if someone sees me as their future or things that they're wanting to step into, then those are the kind of people that I would love to have there, open-minded, open heart, and just ready for some adventure because Hawaii's freaking fun.
I love it. Aloha. So in so many ways, this is a journey that people are on. And I wrote this before our final thoughts, and it says, Nicole, you're not just manifesting outcomes. You're teaching people how to become the version of themselves that naturally attracts them. And again, that is the idea that yes, we still have to take action, but the universe is going to align with it when we do it in a high vibration way. And it just makes life so much easier.
Trusting the universe is probably one of my biggest. Surrender and trusting the universe.
We're in this right now as we're talking. We're doing that right now, and we're feeling into it. And so if anybody knew a little bit more of the backdrop of this interview, that you'd understand even what we're talking about even more. So finally, if you could leave the listeners with one tip, one way, and I would actually say one embodiment question to ask themselves tonight, what would that one question be?
Can you have gratitude for the future version of yourself now before it actually manifests in the 3D?
All right. And this is the question, because what happens if they can't?
Got to get there.
That's part of the therapy. That's part of the healing.
It's part of the healing. It's being able to elevate your emotions and feel that and know that you're walking into it and trust yourself. Like you said, trust the universe. When I started embodying and working with gratitude, I have a daily journaling gratitude practice. We could go even deeper into that another day. I mean, I manifested a check for $53,000 last year. Wow. I haven't even told you that story yet. There's so many things that have come to me. For one, you appreciate what you have right now. Like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Mahalo has been my big word, which is how we say thank you in Hawaiian. But gratitude for what I have now, and gratitude for my past, and gratitude for what's coming has been really a big shift for me. And I felt grateful for the Miss Hawaii win. I felt grateful for my move to Hawaii before I was there. You know, it's all about being that and knowing that you can become that.
I love it. Let's just emphasize now that they've got some examples. What would that one question of embodiment be?
The one question would be, can you have gratitude for your future right now?
For your future right now. And with that, this has been the Global Center for Healing podcast, located in Spring Valley in the Harry Potter room. And with that, aloha, mahalo.
Aloha. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Nailed it.
That was so good.
Yeah.
Makes me on fire.
I think I shut the fire off.
Oh, and you nailed it. 40